Hello, my name is Cynthia, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. I'm happy to be here with you today to share with you my stitching and talk about all of the bird projects that I've finished and want to finish, my stash of birds. I didn't realize just how many I had until I sat down and thought that would be a fun theme for today's podcast. It is a little cloudy and blustery, so the light may come in and out. It's about 56 degrees outside here in Fort Worth, Texas, and I actually may be uploading this on Friday, so I don't know what tomorrow's weather will hold, but it's a spring day and who knows. I wanted to share with you my most recent finish. First off, this is from Barbara Anna, and I didn't expect exactly to finish this over the last couple weeks, but I got so excited about the project that I just went ahead and finished it. I had already started the skirt on this a couple summers ago, so that was really the hardest part of the stitching. And my color conversion that I did was a patriotic one. Here's how she turned out. She's so pretty. It wasn't a difficult conversion in that there's only 3 colors. The bottom is Weeks Dye Works Crimson, which I have had to reorder because I used it all. And then Country, actually there's one little strand of it, and then Country Redwood by Gentle Arts. This is just a beautiful variegated red. It has a lot of almost terracotta rusty red, which I really like. I used a navy from DMC on the top. I could have gone farther down with the shirt, but I like the way that the flag is mostly red and white, so the blue is a smaller part. And I put a little bit of a blue band on her hat, and then the strawberries are crimson and redwood. I had this leftover fabric from, I think I got it at Joann's maybe a year or 2 ago, and so I put that on there and put a little border. It's not a herringbone stitch, someone asked me. It's just a random crosses. But I did try to keep them even at the top. And I stuffed it with rice and coarse ground sawdust. My dad didn't know what I wanted, so he gave me 2 kinds of finer sawdust and a coarse sawdust, and it almost feels like cedar chips from from the bedding of a pet, but it worked out fine. And then the rice is really heavy, so it has a lot of heft. It's pretty big. It's about as big as my head, so I think it's the largest pillow I've ever made. I was really toying with putting it on a frame, but the way my counter is set up, and I don't have a lot of surfaces because I have puppies and little kids that can knock stuff off. So I wanted this to be in my trough on my kitchen bar area there so that it'll be kind of protected. And if I line the whole thing with frames, then they're liable to get broken or disturbed. So this was a better solution. I did have some yarn from Michael's that was cream colored. I've showed this before. It's probably been a while, but I dipped this in dye and it didn't take super well. I had to soak it in vinegar, I think, and then kind of not rinse it out very well. So it ended up kind of stripy like that, but I liked it. I want to say that's probably scarlet and cocoa brown, maybe some charcoal. That's my usual red. And then this is some Lady Dot Creates seam binding that I got from Kitten Stitcher, I want to say a while ago, and that color is called Rusty Gate. So you can tell it's such a rusty red. I had a different bow on there at first, and I thought, no, it's pretty rusty. I had some wool felt from my friend Joe, and I just really love the way this turned out. A lot of y'all on Instagram appreciated the conversion as well and thought about trying it yourself. So if you do want to stitch that piece from Primitive Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher Magazine, summer 2019, then tag me and let me see. I would really appreciate it. I also forgot to say, I did this on, I want to say it's a 16 count Aida, just a scrap I had. It might be 14. And I just dyed it with tannerite. So it's something I had from another project, and a pair of old pants. I'm really big about recycling. So those were my favorite jeans until they gave out on me about 6 months ago. The other finish I have, I'm sort of fudging just a little bit. I worked on this all day yesterday, and I actually forgot to show it to you last time. Let me insert the pattern of the Prairie Seasons by Prairie Schooler in here because I forgot to bring the pattern down. This series has been hanging around for a couple years on my whip list, and I know why when I get into it. This is a lot of stitching. I am so close to being done on my spring Prairie Seasons. I just have some vines up here that need to be back stitched and put in there, and then a little bit of back stitching here. I was up pretty late last night and I thought, it's okay. It's not quite gonna make it, but that's okay. It's, I'd say like 99.5% done. But I had initially thought this bottom part was a different color than it was. And when I realized it, I thought, well, that's okay. I was making it brown like dirt because it's a garden space. But when I put in my wheelbarrow and my garden can, they completely blended in. And kind of like throwing good money after bad, I kept trying to salvage it. Well, I'll backstitch around the garden, you know, the can and the wheelbarrow, and it was just a no-go. I was really unhappy with it. So I ripped out, probably 75% of that was done, and I ripped it out. It took me a whole evening just to rip out, but it was worth it. It really looks a lot better with those elements showing up. There's some of my favorites, that little water can. So I really like this. I have 3 more seasons to go, and I will have it finished next time on this really cute window that I picked up at Target Dollar Spot. It was just raw wood, and I painted it, so it's going to be so cute on here. But like I said, I just ran out of time. So that was another finish, and then, or almost finished. And then my other finish that I wanted to show you this time was my Hawk Run Hollow piece. Also one that just had a lot of details, and I don't know why details stall me out sometimes. I was so close to being done. I should have had it done a month ago. But I finally spent about an hour and a half and finished up, and I have it on this kind of roll here, upside down, of course. Finished up my 6th block for me, but 10th block for the whole piece. This is the Apple Orchard Farm, and it had just some little trees and random apples. I almost had to circle, I did have to circle some of the apples on this chart because the symbols were really close to one another. And at first I thought they were just trees, and I realized, oh, those are red apples. So I went back and put those apples in, and the outline, everything else, the last time you saw it was pretty much done. And now it is done. So makes me feel good. I had ironed this. It's still a little wrinkly, but here it is all together. And I'm just kind of going on my direction to be able to use the blocks that had already been filled in. I've already started on this other border there. I went ahead and sketched that in. So that's the next block that I will be working on. And those are all of my finished projects and fully finished one project. Let me get a few other things to show you together, and I'll be right back. When I was looking at my works in progress this last couple weeks, I thought it would be fun to show some previous bird finishes as well. Some of them were stitched by me, and a couple of them were gifts. I had a question on, I think it was my last video because I showed this at the beginning of the video. This I finished last summer is Stacy Nash's Miss Baxter's Farm. And I got a tag on Instagram. I'll put her name here. Another friend had stitched this with my red conversion and gifted it to a friend or family member. I can't remember, but it was such a flattering thing to see another stitcher use this conversion. The original is much more faded, and I've already passed on the chart, or I would show you, but it has more peach kind of tan flowers around the edges, and I really love red. Her dress is in the charted for color, so I kind of went off with the dress. But this has birds that are chickens, obviously, and a rooster there. And it is one of my most favorite things I've ever stitched in 2020. So there's Miss Baxter's House by Stacy Nash, for some of y'all that might have been wondering. And the other one, I think I also showed in the video last time. It has a big robin on it. This is Welcome Spring by Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread. I think I showed that pretty recently, but it was pretty prominently featuring a bird. This is an autumn piece I stitched, my second piece I ever stitched. It has some terrible stitches in it, but it's still cute. And it's by Snowflower Diaries, cute little yellow bird for autumn. So I keep that on a tiered tray sometimes and a stand other times, just depends. I also made a couple of Christmas ornaments that you saw last December, but here's my Prairie Schooler rooster. This pattern is Christmas Past, which is out of print, sadly, but a lot of Prairie Schoolers rooster designs are pretty similar. I think I put it on this galvanized ornament from Hobby Lobby that I just finished, and you can see that on my previous video. Here's the dove. There's another bird in this pattern as well. I haven't stitched it yet though. It's like a kind of like a robin. So these were fun stitches on natural linen. I love all kinds of birds apparently. Another one I did at the beginning of last year. This is something I kind of made up myself. I had been inspired by a punch needle project I saw from Brenda Gervais, and I mentioned that I don't have a hoop for punch needle, and you know, I didn't think I could start that hobby, and I made this up myself with linen and just kind of was inspired by her design. There's a little bee there, and I had an oil can from eBay. I thought it was such a funky, cute art piece, so it turned out so nice. And when I showed it and said I don't have a Morgan stand, or a viewer sent me her stepmom's setup, so I have been punch needling because of this bird and a friend's kind generosity. Thank you, Nikki. So that was another bird that I sort of made up myself. And then another one I sort of made up myself. This is a punch needle I showed last summer in my one of my bee videos. I 2020 signed it. I adapted this from a punch needle Primitive Stitcher magazine larger piece. There's actually like a blanket under this part that's like orange and yellow, kind of serape kind of colors, and a big sheep. And I just liked this bird. And so I changed the colors a little bit on those flowers. They were also orange and red, and I made them more like sunflowers. And I added another bee and some corner like penny round. I added that too. So I love that bird though, with the kind of gray and purple, almost like you see a bird, a grackle, you know, they have that shine on their wing. We have a lot of grackles around here. Doesn't look like a grackle, but the coloring reminds me. So this is another one that I kind of adapted. It's real easy to take a bird off of a project and make it a pretty pin keep. My friend Kim Goldman, hi Kim, did that as well on this piece she made for me with my initials. This is some blackbird motifs that she just pulled off, and some pretty linen on the back, and she just made that for me as a thank you for participating in a sale with her. I made something for her and she made this for me. So just a fun way to, Kim is brilliant at that, adapting charts. So just take a bird off of it. And that's such a distinctive blackbird style. You can immediately recognize it if you're familiar with their designs. I had another Kim gift me this bird. I thought it had a bee on it, but I remembered it has both. It has bees and a bird. So that's a pretty one that Kim Layman stitched, Barbara's daughter. She did a beautiful job. She's a very talented stitcher. So I love my little bird pin keeps from friends. And I'm thinking that's the only finish, unless you count this quilt. I didn't finish it, but this is kind of like a gift. I had showcased this quilt in a couple of videos before, and I always get questions about it. This was done by my husband's great-grandmother. Zelda was his grandmother, and then his great-grandmother, I think, was Dealey was her name. And so she and Zelda, I think, worked on this quilt. It has 50 birds, all embroidered for each state. Some of them are kind of crazy colors. I think they just worked with what they have, because I know some of these aren't the called for colors. There's kind of some crazy ones, and they go all different directions when they were quilted together. Some of them are upside down, some are sideways. So I'll try to insert a video of the full quilt shown here. It's in pretty rough shape, but it is one of my favorite things. I would grab it in a fire. So let me show that here. One more finish that I almost forgot to show you because it was over on my table. I'm not the first one to come up with this idea, but I wanted to show you what it looks like all together. I have a little light in there too. This is Jenny, I'll take her out in a minute, by Stacy Nash. She is a cracker that is basically cut out in a shape and then stuffed. I did this one last year as well. And this nest was in my backyard patio umbrella. It had some really pretty blue speckled eggs that were abandoned. My neighbor boy broke one of them, but that's okay. They still are surviving. And this is all the kind of branches around my house, so it kind of is more special for that reason. And then there's Jenny. She has a little basket, and she is super cute. I did a video of finishing her. I've learned things since I did that video. I think I may have said in there, you know, the interfacing is necessary. Don't skip that step if you're finishing a cracker, but anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So this is Jenny by Stacy Nash, and I love the way she is displayed in this lantern with her nest from our yard. So those are all the bird finishes I have around the house. There's also my Birds of a Feather by Blackbird Designs, and my Barbara Anna has some prominent birds. So I will have a video of those in the clip somewhere, but those are the ones that I took down today. So thank you for letting me show my bird finishes. I hope that you felt inspired and try to create some displays with your own bird stitching. And let me show you my works in progress that I have been working on over the last couple weeks. Most of my stitching time went into the pieces I already showed you that were finished. My spring Prairie Schooler, my Barbara Anna bird, and also my Hawker and Hollow. So that's the bulk of what I did, but I had a little bit of progress on my Barbara Anna All Creatures Great and Small. And last time I showed it, I didn't have it down here, so I wanted to pull it out again. I don't have a photo of where I was last time, but I know I worked on this corner here where you can see the waves. I'm trying to work up to this hill so that I can make sure it is even. And I discovered an error here. This is kind of a cautionary tale. If you have an error, always take it out, or at least partially take it out, so that when you pick it back up, you don't forget that it's there. I added some leaves here and I was like, wait, this border is not matching up. And I had to tear out about a quarter of that bottom border to get it even, and then it met up so nicely, and I was like, oh, of course. So it's finally all the way around and it's correct, and I just have to keep filling in. So I'm going to work on the hill is completely striped, and it's so tiny, but that's so many stitches already. And it's completely striped all the way up, and then there's waves and a little fisherman. So I'll work on that corner and try to get the lines spaced in there, and keep going on that. So there's Barbara Anna, and then I pulled out Shepherd Sampler, oh here it is, to participate with the Jessie Watson Autism Sal. I'm not actually using the Jessie Watson pattern though. This is a bag made by my dad. I've shown it in the past, but It's such a pretty Rifle Paper Company one. It's a little bunny. And there's probably birds on here too. Yeah, there's little chicks in the corner. And I started on the house. I didn't have any of this part over here started, so that's what I did this time. And I stitched this weird, I don't know if that's a lion or a dog. I've seen that in other sampler motifs. It's kind of a fun little critter. And then I didn't have the lady done. She's still headless, but she's placed there with her staff. And then there's the brick house or outbuilding, I'm not sure, that is going to have Jesse's heart above it. I had just kind of sketched it out. It's like 9 stitches high, so it's really just a bunch of eyelets. But here's the end. It has another little motif over here, and that's the last of it. I did stitch over that far too. So, and it actually has strawberry border on the side. I think that's what you call that. So it kind of fits in with all the cells. But this is on my Good Intentions contract that I made with my guild. So I will be pressing onward with this. I'm kind of going to start limiting my whips a little bit more. I always try to say, well, I'll just put in an hour on this, an hour on that. And what ends up happening is I just kind of flit around to everything and don't finish my project. So I'm going to be zeroing in on a few, and the Shepherd sampler is one, as well as my All Creatures Great and Small. I hope for a finish this year on those. And I had one other whip I wanted to show you that is also on my annual Good Intentions contract with my guild. This is Sally Spencer. I only have a copy because my original I'm keeping nice and neat upstairs. This was a gift from Olivia. Thank you, Olivia. And I want to pass it on. So I have a bird on this one as well. It fit into my theme today. And that's about as far as I've gotten. I've done the little bird. I think it needs a beak, and the side here. And then I'm going to start with the lettering. So this also will be getting some more love. I feel like I had a really good plan going into 2021. And then when I got sick, everything just kind of went by the wayside. So I'm trying to get myself back on track in lots of ways. While I have this out, this is another whip I'm keeping in the same bag, and it's not one that I'm going to work on per se, but I wanted to show it as part of my bird focus, and it is one of my whips. This is Santa, the Dove, and the Key by Barbara Anna, and I didn't know it's Barbara Anna April. Helen D had said that, and I hadn't heard a hashtag for that, so maybe I will put a little bit in on this and finish the bird. I want to see this done. I have a spot for it. It is Santa, and there's the little dove and the little village. So you can see it's pretty small. I love this Sea Lily linen by Witchell. It's kind of stiff, but it's a beautiful color. Kind of fits in with my bluey green front room. So that's where it's going to go for Christmas. So both of those stay in my Birds of a Feather bag that was a gift from my friend Becky when we did our sal. And also I'm wearing our bird necklace that she made for me that has a picture of the blackbird sampler. I get questions about that sometimes when I go to like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. The cashier will say, oh, I like your necklace, and I say, yeah, I stitched this. So it's kind of a fun little memento that you can carry with you. I also have some stash and plans that I want to start eventually with bird projects. So let me get those together. I have a whole basket and we'll go through those. Hang on just a second. Okay, apparently I'm going to forget one thing on every section of this video. I did have another whip that is very bird focused, and also the inspiration for why I wanted to group these patterns together. This is a punch needle project that I got a while ago, back in the early part of the year, from Teresa's Primitive Treasures, and it's called Bluebird Fractor. I have a kind of bird wall plan in my front room, and I'll insert a picture of how this is going to look with my other blackbird birds and a blue willow plate that I have on the wall. So let me insert that here. And then this is how my Bluebird Fractor is turning out. I love it so much. I ordered the wooden horn book, or I'm not sure what you call that, just that wooden paddle. Teresa makes those with her husband from reclaimed barnwood, and it was really affordable. I thought it's really small. It's only going to be, you know, the size of this piece, but it's specifically made for this piece, and I thought I could search around and try to find something to put this on, but it wouldn't look as good as what Teresa already had. And she has free shipping on it, which for a wooden product I thought was nice. So that's going to be here. It's already shipped. And I did brighten this up just a little bit, partly by mistake. I didn't like the idea of a black Valdani thread for this bird, so I ordered a blue one, and it was a little brighter than I expected. But it was a happy accident because I think it really complements my terracotta wall and my blue willow plate that I found in storage the other day. And I added this red is much brighter than the called for used brick. It's actually 918. I was talking about that with Lori. Hi, Lori from Mischievous Stitches. She was loving this rusty red. And it's actually called ultra or very dark rusty or red rust. Red copper. That's what it is. Very dark red copper. I like to look up the name of a DMC floss. I wish they had their names printed on the label as well, because sometimes you don't see the undertone until you know the name. Like, of course that's a red copper. I just thought it was a burgundy, but no, it's very coppery. And blue and orange are great complements. So this piece I hope to finish. I was kind of playing chicken with some thread. This was my Aunt Ruth's pearl cotton. I had a whole box of this, and I actually finished the bird. This is the color here with that, and thought, oh, I've got 6 8-yard skeins of that. That'll be enough. I only have 2 more of these, and there's no way I have enough. So I'm going to have to go to Hobby Lobby and pray that I can find a pearl cotton that is this similar kind of tan cream color, or I might have to rip it out and start over, which will make me cry a little bit, but I might could just rip out parts of it and kind of put in the new color to kind of blend them. So, and it is really easy to frog on punch needle. It just goes and it pulls right out. So that piece I love and almost forgot to show you. Hopefully I'll have it on a board next time that we meet. And now I will show you the projects that I want to start soon. Some of them may have a few stitches in them, but I don't think so. So these are just some kind of patriotic pieces and some other stash I have that I love. And let's see, I have a whole basket here. I'm not sure how to start. I showed this one recently, Maria Oliver by Carriage House Samplings. It's only like 70 stitches high, and it has some birds right there on the edge. So I actually kitted this up from Michael's the other day. I use their curbside pickup. If you order online and use the rewards coupon, I can get it for 43 cents a skein. So I have them pull it all together. It takes a little bit of time to input it in my order, but it's so convenient to just drive in curbside and have them throw it in your car. So I have that Maria Oliver. I have a few other pieces that I'm going to finish before I start it, but it's in my near future because it's so small. I also have, let's see, a couple other patriotic pieces that I want to start if I have time. This was a freebie by sideways Stone Street Stitchworks. I talk about Salma quite a bit. I really enjoy her color sense, and these little birds all marching around in a row are very carriage housey. And so I want to do this piece on some vintage country mocha I have left over, and just do a little pin keep for that. And where's the other punch needle I had? Oh, right here. This is from, it's not a punch needle, it's a Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. Eagle. I have a couple of eagles that I might stitch, but this one is very small. It has country redwood, that same color I used on my Barbara Anna. So I already have that. And then just, I think that's blue corn, which I also have, but I need it for my house. So I don't think for a full house, I don't think I'll dive into that. I'll probably just use a blue. But that's a pretty design by Sub Rosa, and it is in the summer oh, I need my glasses, 2018. This was in my free digital subscription. When I showed that Barbara Anna pillow on one of the Barbara Anna groups, a lady from overseas, I want to say a military wife, was lamenting that she can't get a hold of this magazine, and another viewer responded, which was helpful. You can get that on digital. You don't have to order the magazine. So it is a great bargain if you like primitive stitching. So that is one I wanted to stitch up. I feel like I had another eagle. I do. This is one that a lot of people are stitching and have stitched, by Blackbird Design. I don't know if the other one has an eagle on it. I just saw Devin finish this. Devin has a wonderful Flosstube up. Oh, they do both have eagles. Here's the other one, Full Glory. I actually think I'm leaning toward doing this one. It's very small, and I love that house. So there's an eagle on In Full Glory, and there's also an eagle on the one on the cover that Devin just stitched. I can't remember what that one's called. Anyway, oh, and there's birds on, Blackbird puts birds on everything, which is why we like them, right? American Eagle is what it's called. It's also pretty small. And then here's the other sampler I will finish, or I will do eventually. Salute to Abigail. Celeste, yours looks so pretty. If you see Celeste Creates on Instagram, she just finished it. And there's some pretty birds right in there with flags. So all three of those I will eventually stitch, probably the small one first. And then I had a couple others in here that are small enough it could feasibly be done. This is a Prairie Schooler Prairie Fairy. And these are out of print. Hopefully they'll re-release them. I've seen people pay quite a bit of money for these, but a lot of shops still have these cardstock Prairie Schoolers. This was a year ago or so, but I paid $3 for it. So you can find it. I think I got it from Anita's Little Stitches, and it was $3 or $4. I love her pin cushion hat and her hoop. And then you're supposed to put an actual needle in there. But I'll finish it as a pillow for my sewing room. I know Amy has this, I think, as a pillow from Amy Loves Toads, my friend. And several of y'all have done that one. So that's a fun one. I had a plan to start looking after Sally Spencer. I want to try to get through my out of print charts that would be shared, instead of kind of hoarding them or just, you know, sitting on them for years. And one of those I showed a long time ago, but this is a mystery Sal that it says Country Stitches with Thy Needle. It's Brenda Gervais. It comes in 3 parts. I found it at the Stitch Niche. It was the last one they have. I want to say it was about 10 years ago that they did this. But a friend was working on it at a stitch-in that I hosted, and the border just really was beautiful, I thought. So it doesn't do it justice as all of these are, but I thought this would be beautiful on my bird wall. It's called Birds of a Feather, just like the other Blackbird one. So we kind of have a Birds of a Feather theme going. But I want to do this piece so that I can pass it on, and I'll probably do it after... well, there's another one. Hang on. I have 3 out of print charts that I'm sitting on that I really want to pass along to another friend. This one is already spoken for, but it is a favorite. And I started it in Mania of 2019. I have too many things out here, y'all. I am sorry. I wanted to start this one after Sally Spencer. And it's a good housewife. I have a couple of good housewives here that are, oh, that's another one. Hard to find. I don't think this is technically out of print as much as it is just not available. She could open her shop again. I have the shop saved for notifications on Etsy, is where I got this in 2019 when I started Mania. And I have a small start on it. My friend Becky pulled it back out and was working on it as well. We're stitching twins. She started it before I even knew her, but I just have the urn started. It's actually kind of that Rhode Island sampler style where you have a pot on each side with the flowers up the middle. It reminds me a lot of Paulette Stewart's style. And I want to say there's another antique that's very similar to this with the bird on top. But I love a bird, so that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to this. And the colors are really kind of fall, all DMC, really fallish and olivey. I think it's also a favorite of Tanya's from Scarlet House. She has it on her wall. So there's Elizabeth Easton by Good Housewife. And I'll actually do that one before the Brenda Gervais, but I love them both. Another piece that I have as a whip is the Redbird Fractor. This also would fit with my two birds, kind of a facing each other bird theme. I don't know if I did that on purpose. I think I did on this one, but there's also just kind of a design element that's very common with fractors. And I have the nest finished on that one, but I don't have the very much done. It was just a mania start. I'm sorry I'm moving in and out so much, guys. You don't even know the mess around me. But this is a bag I made recently. It was kind of an oops because it was too short, but it has lots of space, and I really like that French General fabric. So this is one I want to pull out after a few other Brenda Gervais are done. And it has the nest. Oops, wrong side. It's done on Ren, 36 count Picture This Plus, back when we could get Picture This Plus. And I changed that nest. It blends in really well right now, but it's going to be surrounded with a darker color, so it's okay. But I added an egg on this one. It only had 3 eggs in the nest for the original. Oops, it's upside down. And since I have 4 children, I wanted my mama or my bird family to have 4 eggs. So that one is a fun older piece by Brenda Gervais. If you haven't seen it, I know Kitten Stitcher carries it most of the time. I don't think I've seen it anywhere else, but that fits in so pretty with my Fractor bird wall. And then here is another bird in this pretty bird bag from mybobbin.com. This winter piece has some beautiful birds on it, and it's not my usual style. I started this right before I got sick, so I did not get very far on it. Just well, not even enough to show, really. Just some random confetti stitches that are almost a bird, but not quite. And they are stitched in wool. So it's kind of a rough Aida grid that I'm working on, but because the stitches are in wool, I do want it to be a larger count, and it's going to be almost full coverage. So that is a fun whip. And let me show you a little bit more stash. I'll get this together. Hang on. I hope you're enjoying all of these bird patterns. I've had a good time making the Pinterest board and just looking through all of the bird things I want to stitch. And I was a little bit overwhelmed by Jenny after I stitched all of that skirt, but I'm almost to the point where I'm ready to start Henrietta. And she has a really pretty green dress, and I'm going to make her shoes red. I think Michelle Farm Girl did that, or at least changed the color of them to show up. So, and I love her little basket of eggs as well. So Henrietta is a fun one by Stacy Nash. And oh, I had 2 others. I want to turn these into crackers, and these are already spoken for by a stitching friend. So Ida Crow and Ida May and Ira Ray. I actually have some larger count fabric, like some 11 count, and they're going to be about the size of my other crackers when I stitch them. So Ida and Ira are a fall set that I want to make into crackers. And then I already have a friend in mind that's taking that out of print chart. I also have a chicken chart from Stacy Nash. Stacy Nash, I looked through all of her patterns, and it's kind of funny. She doesn't stick birds on everything like Blackbird and even Prairie Schooler. You know, Prairie Schooler puts birds on everything. Blackbird puts birds on everything. Stacy doesn't as much, but she does like chickens. She does a lot of chickens. This is an older piece I don't see as much. I've never seen anybody stitch it, called Spotted Chicken Sewing Bag and Pin Keep. And I want to do that to Pin Keep. And I even have some red velvet fabric my mom gave me. So that was part of why I was inspired to get this pattern. It's very small, just like 60 by 35, and just really sparse stitching. So I think I can do that this summer, as well as this one from Pineberry Lane. I've had this kitted up for a while. This is Sisters Farm Fresh Eggs. And I love a good pineberry piece. I think it would look so cute with these Stacy Nash pieces. I kind of have a farm table going. So there's some chicken pieces and the crows, if you like farm stuff. And then let me show you the last few things, a couple of blackbird patterns that I want to start sooner rather than later. This is Garden Morning. I've made one drum for my friend Michelle, and I loved it. It turned out so pretty, and it was so fun and simple, really. Devin made a beautiful drum, and so did Nancy Woolsey out of a rooster. I'll link their videos below. They made some beautiful drums, and I really want to do this one. So Garden Morning, I think it's stitched on Velt, which I don't have, but I have some Victorian mottos that I've saved up, and I do have a lot of those threads already. So that's a beautiful one from the Sewing Club book. There's a bird, I think, on every piece in this one as well. So there's a blackbird inspiration. And then the last thing, I have been kind of feeling like, oh, I really need to do some more sewing for my house. I've enjoyed sewing the project bags that I've sold recently, and I know I can do it. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I have been hoarding this fabric from Blackbird Designs. I guess it's 2 fat quarters. This used to be on 1, 2, 3 stitch, and unfortunately I think they're out of it, but it may be one that you can still find. I think it is so beautiful, this quilting fabric. It doesn't have the name of it, but it's just a fat quarter, and I'm gonna make pillows for my couch as soon as my dog gets a little bit bigger and isn't so oh, what's the word? Slobbery. Maybe that won't ever happen, but I have plans to make these into pillows for my couch. And I also have this beautiful fabric from my mom that I'm going to make into some patterns or into some curtains for this room. So those are all of the bird patterns, fabrics, projects, lots of things to be inspired by. I hope you enjoyed that. I appreciate you spending time with me today. And for those of you that continue to return and leave encouraging comments, thank you so much. I hope that you are having a good week, that you are feeling creative and inspired. And as I end all of my videos in the book of Psalm, verse 90, or chapter 90, verse 17, it says, "May the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands." Happy stitching.